Now let's go to the chapter 15 to 20, Introduction to MATLAB. Last time we learned about some basic built-in function in MATLAB and how to draw 2D or 3D images in MATLAB. And we had a glimpse about what is the if statement, how to use a for statement, things like that. So today we have also three learning goals. First, let's review the times table M code. So in the last Wednesday, during the lab class, we had a chance to look at the times table MATLAB code, and let's review one by one line. And the second one is no input and output function in the MATLAB. So once we if we want to add some put some data into the variables, how can we do that? It's input, and output, how to display or how to print out those values in the MATLAB. The third one is review again the if, for, and while function, which is very commonly used in the MATLAB. So you need to understand how we can use it in terms of syntax. How can you use these three very frequent functions fluently? I wanted to use these three functions fluently. Yes, let's review together. Times table code. So this is MATLAB code. There are around 15 lines. Let's look at the first of the while one. So which means one means it actually in the Boolean terms, one is true, right? Zero means false. So while one means it's true, that means it's infinite loop. Alright? So while it's true, that means there is no end point. Okay? Until you reach break point, this equation, this expression will show up every time. It's repeatedly show up. Alright, let's look at the A equals input, enter integer range from 1 to 9. To exit, enter 0. Alright, so this is the string that will show up in the command window. And the input is a built-in function of MATLAB. So whatever you typed, then it goes into variable A. Okay, so A will contain the value that you put using your keyboard. Alright, so if we put the 5.1, then A will contain 5.1 as a number. Okay, if A equals 0, then display have a good day, break. Break means this we will escape this while loop. Okay, A equals to 0. So we put the 5.1 to the A. So this is not equals to 0. Then it goes to here as if A is less than 1. Is A is less than 1? No, right? It's higher than 1. Then we go to this line. Does A has higher than 9? No, right? So it's 5.1. So still we keep going. So here else. This else means we have another loop here. So it's a for loop. Here we have I index. So I, when I goes 1 to the 9 with 1 increment, this one shows 9 times, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This equation, this statement will show up 9 times. And you can see here we have A. So A still contains 5.1. Okay, and times I, when I equals 1, when I equals 2. So it will increase with 1 increment, equal, and A times I. So when I equals 1, and we have A equals 5.1. So this one will show 5.1, and when I equals 2, then 10.2. When I goes to 3, then the result will show 15.3, right? Alright, that's it. And as you remember, as you may remember, the num2 string is, so A contains a number, right? But display can, show the string type data. So we have to convert this number data to string type data. So num2 string is a built-in function in MATLAB that can change the data type from number to string. Alright, there is an input statement. So we have 3 input statement here. Those two, scalar and the matrix, there is no S here. Okay, but here in text-wise, we have to put S here. So that means if we put some number or some string type data here, if there are S, then this my text will contain character or string type data. But here we don't have S here. This my matrix or my scalar variable will contain the number data. Alright, let's look at more detail. So here we have some method called h equals input and enter the max height inches. Okay, so enter the max height in inches. Let's say we put there are 5. We just typed in the MATLAB command window. The answer will be error because we typed the string data, not the number data. So here we don't have any S here. That means H will have to contain the number, but we typed the string data so that the MATLAB cannot contain this string data type because there are no S. Okay. How about if we put the S again, the same thing, but we put the S here, and then we execute the code, enter the maximum height. There are 5. Okay. Then H will contain there are 5 because the MATLAB will know the user will enter the string type character. Okay, then it goes into the H. Another example is the same thing, but if we put the 15 here, alright, what's the answer? So H will contain 15, but this 15 is not number. This 15 is considered as string type data. Okay. So easy question is, let me ask you. If we want the user to type a number, what is the correct syntax of input? We have 4, A, B, C, D. So which one is the right syntax? Alright. This one is wrong. There is no input function. Input function should be here. The X equals input, but here is a bracket. There should be no bracket here. So okay, no, this one looks fine, but here X should be goes here. How about D? X equals input, type of number, and parentheses. Alright, so there is no S, right? So that means when we execute this code and whatever we typed in, the X should be contain the value as a number, right? So the answer is D. Alright, so far we learned what is the input function. Then let's look at the output function. So there are 2 output functions in MATLAB. So display data, fprintf, write data. So fprintf is quite interesting function because it's not necessary in the MATLAB. It's in the C or C++, C#, any C-based language, computer programming language. They can use the fprintf. So it's a very broadly used functions in programming. So let's look at how we can use the fprint functions in MATLAB. There are 7 different format that we can use f print functions. So let's say print parentheses and the quotation mark here, %f and data, which means we can show whatever in the data with 6 decimal places. Okay, so print f %f means show the value in the value of the data with 6 decimal places. But how about this one? This one is a little different. %0.mf, so which means shows the value in the data with m decimal places. If we put the 9, then 9 decimal place. If we put the 5, then 5 decimal places will show up. How about the rest of them? You can see the same thing, but here backslash and n, which means show the number with m decimal places and change the line. The tab is insert a tab after you show the data. Okay, that's the simple method, and I want you to remember these 4 things. This should be you should be familiar with to use this concept in the programming. So let's review this with some examples. Okay, so print f %f, and here is a long list of numbers, which is the pi 3.14159265 blah 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 blah. There are many long decimal place numbers, but if we used this equation, the %f, then what did I say? It means it shows with a it shows the number with a 6 decimal place. So the answer is 3.1415693. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, only 6 decimal place. And the cursor location, you have to understand this concept. The cursor location right after the numbers. So here is the cursor. Alright, let's try another one. So %0.1010 f \n, and we have this long list of numbers, which means the this printf function will show this number with 10 decimal place and change the line. Okay, insert a new line, show 10 decimal place and change the line here, and then the cursor 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then the cursor should be here. It changed the line. Okay, not here, it should be here because of this \n. Alright, this is concept check. You have 30 seconds. Let's start. Alright, let's look at the problem together. So x contains 1 and y contains 2.53, z contains 10.3, but here print f 0.0, 0.0, which means there is no decimal places, right? It's 0 decimal places. So the answer should be B or D, right? B or D. But the y contains 2.5, so in this case the 0 decimal place, and then the MATLAB will automatically round the value. So the answer should be the B, 1, 3, and 10. This is the tricky question. You have 20 seconds. Let's start. Alright, let's look at the result together. Here you can see printf quotation mark xyz backslash n. So which means there is no %f or %0.0x. No. So it means that this is not the variable x. This is just a character x. So the answer is D, just x, y, z. And here you can see backslash n means change the line, right? The cursor should be somewhere here. Alright, this is a tricky question because it's a fake question. Okay. And another question, let's look at together. So here you can see we have x, y, z, and each variable contains some numbers, and then we can express with 2 decimal place. And this one has a 4 decimal place. So as you may know, the C will be the answer. But let's look at the third part here. So x, y is just a value will show up, and this one is calculated as these equations. So x equals 1 times 20 plus 0.5, and this is 20.5, right? But the number should be expressed with 4 decimal places, so that's why the answer is C. Another concept check, the printf quotation mark backslash n backslash t x backslash n. So what is the output of this statement? The answer is C. Here we have add a new line, okay, new line here, and then insert a tab, put a little space here, and it shows x here, and then change the line. So the cursor will be here. There is another function in the MATLAB. MATLAB can read a very large size Excel data using XLS read functions. Okay, so it's the same. It's a simple concept. There should be some variable, and then equal XLS read file name dot format of XLS data and the close. Okay. So for example, we have US Army anthropometric data, which is a huge size of data. We can read those data, and variable A, those metrics will be go into the A. We can always check the size of the matrix A, and the A first columns all the data. Let's put that data to the X variable. The first column is stature anyway. The second column is weight. So we want to add all the data in the second column to the Y. So we have X and Y. What is this one? This one is the build linear models, right? So X is an independent variable, Y equals dependent variable. And 1 means there is only one X. So B contains 2 data sets. The first one is slope, and the second one indicates the intercept. Alright, let's go to the if statement. So here we have if statement. Let's look at the last one only. We reviewed last time what is the if statement. So here we have if and the expressions. If this expression is true, then statement will show up and gone. Then it's done. But if it is not true, then it's go to the else if conditions. And here this another expression. If this expression is right, then statement 2 will show up, and then that's it. But it's not true, then it goes to here again. The else statement 3 will show up. Alright. Oh, by the way, in the if statement there is expression, and the expression will have some rational operators such as greater than, less than, greater than, or equal to, or equal to. So here you have to remember that there should be 2 equal symbols. and or not equal to, that means tilde and equals. Alright, simple if statement. Let's say x contains number 5, and if x is less than 10, which means true, right? If it is true, then x equal x plus 3. So that means we have x value, x contains 5 value, right? 5 plus 3, that goes into, again, to x. So x will contain value 8. We have a multiple if, so m equals 20. Is m equals greater than equal to 20? Yes. So m will contain 0. This else if statement will not execute it because the upper one is satisfied. Okay. Let's do the concept check. Please look at the left side. A contains 4 and B contains 2. Let me ask you, if A is greater than 3, yes, right, it's 4. So fprintf shows 4 with 0 decimal places. So the answer is C. It's really that easy, right? How about the logical operators? So here we already learned this concept in the Excel workbook. But let's review again. This is AND operator. So we have ampersand, 2 ampersand. When the logical operator AND, that means if there are 2 conditions, it's true if all the conditions are true. If it is false, when one of them is false. Okay, but the oppositely, the OR operator, it's true if one of them is true. If it is false, then if all is false. Not operator means it's tilde, which means if the condition is true, then system will tell you it's false. If it is false, then system will tell you it's true. So it's invert logic. Let's look at the examples. So we have a z contains 3. If z is greater than 1, or if z is less than 3, which one is true? So left one is true and the right one is false, right? Because z equals 3. So one of them is true, and we have OR operator. That means it's true because one of them is true. So the value will show up with 0 decimal places. The answer is D. Alright. Let's review the AND operator. We have ampersand and ampersand here. Oh, this is another question. This is a different question. So what integer values of m can be displayed in the command window? So what integer value can be available be as m value here? M should be greater than equal to 2, and ampersand, this is AND operator, m is less than 6. So integer means there is no decimal place, it's integer value. So the answer is C. So 2, 3, 4, 5. But not 6, because this M operator here, the right operator, is less than 6, not less than equal to 6. So only 4 integer variables are available, can be the M. Here we have OR operators. So what integer value of m can be displayed in the command window? What integer value? So here, if one of them is true, then it will display it, right? So if m is greater than equal to, or m is less than 6, then it shows up, right? So how about look at this? M is greater than 2, so which means 3, 4, 5, or even 6 is okay. Here this condition is true, right? So no matter what their condition is, if this is true, then the fprintf will show the answers, right? So the answer is any integer value will work. Because if it is 1, then this condition will not satisfy, but this condition will satisfy with m equals 1. So any integer value will work. If it is 2, yes, it's work. How about 3? It work. How about 100? Yes, it work. So that's why any integer value will work. Alright, this is a little tricky question. We have OR operator and AND operator together, right? Alright, P is greater than 0 and the P is not equals to 3. Okay. And the P should be less than equal to 5. What integer value P can be displayed in the command window? Alright, so as you remember, we have OR operator. No matter what, one of them is true, then it's true. And this AND operator, both should be true. So I would say it's less than 5, right? So 5 should be included. 5, 4, 3, 2, how about 1? 1 is okay, right? So the answer is A. Let's look at the last concept about the loop. So we reviewed the if statement, and we are going to look at the for statement here. Okay, for and while. For is a definite loop, and it's countable, and it will iterate until they reach to the certain numbers. So there is a end. There is end. Okay, there is a finish line, but instead, but on the other hand, while there is no finish line, it's indefinite loop. So it's repeat the equations until they reach the false. So that means if it is true, then the while loop will execute over and over and over again. Okay, so it's indefinite loop. So it will, the segment of the code execute as long as some condition is true. But if the condition is false, then it will stop. Okay. So for statement is, this is the syntax. So for, let's say this is the counter, starts, step, and finish. So starts, let's say if the start is 1 and the finish is 1 and the step is 2, then it goes from 1 to 10 with 2 increment. And then executable statement here. So we can display the number 1 to 10 as follows. Here, for k equals 1 to 10 with 1 increment. So fprintf k value, and here we just learn this means the value will show up with 0 decimal places, and change the line, alright, \n. So the answer will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 with 1 increment, right? So when k equals 1, show up here. When k equals 2, then show up here with the change the line 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How about, can we count inversely from 10 to 1? Yes, it's possible. Let's say k starts 10 to the 1 with -1 increment. That means it's actually reducing by 1, right? So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 4, 5, 3, 2, 1, right? So fprintf, same things. So now we can see the opposite result. So let's check this concept. What value or values are displayed by the following code? So here we have a for loop, right? And the k equals 1 to the 10 with -1 increment. 1 to the 10 is with -1 increment. Is it make sense? how come it reached to the 1 to 10 with negative 1 increment? So it should be 1 increment, not negative 1 increment. So nothing is displayed on the screen. This is the tricky question. What is the output of the following code? So Q contains negative 5, right? So f print f Q backslash T, so which means insert a tab, and N, large N, and the backslash N is add the new line to change the line. And here we have for loop. N equals 3 to 7 with 2 increment. That means 3, 5, and 7. So this equation, this statement will show up 3 times. Okay. This f print f will show up 3 times. What's the value? The Q and N. And once you show this number, there is a little equation here, so it's gonna be update the numbers. So for example, Q contains -5 plus 1, and the N contains 3, right? So which means -5 plus 1 plus 3, that means -1. And then go here again, Q contains -1, and N will be changed with 2 increments, so it should be 5, right? Anyway, let's look at Q equals -5, f print f, the Q. So here you can see the result, right? And then we go here, so N equals 3. So this one will be executed, -5, 3, right? And then we here, the Q will be updated as -1, and N will be updated to 5 here, okay? Because we already passed the when equal and N equals 3. So N equals, now we are 5, and the next step will be 7, but we are not reaching there yet. So here N equals 5, N equals 5, and Q equals -1. Here again, so Q equals -1 plus 1, and the plus N equals 5, right? So Q should be 5. And then we go again, and lastly the 7, we will have a 7. So Q contains 5 and N contains 7 in this step. So here, show it again, and then calculate it. Yes. While loop. While loop is, as I said, it's infinite loop. Once this expression is true, until this expression is true, then the statement will be executed repeatedly. Okay. So this is last concept. We have R equals 27. Whether this is R is greater than 0. Is it greater than 0? Yes. Then printf Rogers. Alright? And the backslash N. And then the R here, 27, divided by 3, which means 9, minus 3 is 6, right? So R is 6. And then we go up here. Is it R is greater than 0? Because R is 6, right? So it's true. Then Roger, show Roger again. And then R 6 divided by 3, which means 2, minus 3 is -1. And then we go up here. Is it R is greater than 0? No, right? So R has -1. So in this case, it's break. So we have only 2 values, Roger and Roger. So today we learned we reviewed the times table and code, and we learned how to input and output the data in the MATLAB, and we learned if, for, and while loop functions. That's it. Thank you for watching this short video, and have a great day.